Today on the Topping Show, Trump is indicted again. Gavin Newsom wants to repeal the Second Amendment. Target is downgraded again. Call of Duty boycott begins. Indiana Jones is set to flop. Cracker Barrel joins Pride Month. Bud Light sales are down 60%. Carvana stock spikes 50% increase. Netflix password cracking seems to actually have a positive result. GM and Tesla to share chargers. And Toyota reveals a hydrogen capsule car for the Le Mans race. All that and much, much more on the Topping Show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT and security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice today. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Other interesting political news, you have Gavin Newsom introducing the 28th Amendment. Gavin Newsom being the Democrat from the state of California, rampant with a lot of great things like literally losing more people than they ever have in history as they migrate to free states that don't want to steal a majority of your paycheck. And I don't mean that as I don't mean to be over enthusiastic or blow things out of proportion. That is quite literally one of their things. They taxed so much between state and federal tax. More than half of your paycheck goes to the government in that state. Now, the quote came out was from Gavin Newsom, quote, "Our ability to make a perfect union is literally written into the Constitution. So today I'm proposing a 28th Amendment to the United States to do just that. The 28th Amendment will enshrine the Constitution common sense gun safety measures that Democrats, Republicans, and independents and gun owners overwhelmingly support, while leaving the Second Amendment unchanged and respecting America's gun-owning tradition," unquote. Now, I almost threw up. It's such BS beyond all belief. No gun owners are going to, no one who even knows the proper names for guns, no one who knows the difference between a magazine and a clip, or a semi-auto or full auto, no one with 3 brain cells is going to support this. Well, I should say Americans will not support this. Now, the amendment would raise the age to buy a gun from 18 to 21. Disgusting, unconstitutional, because again, if you're 18, you're paying taxes, you're a U.S. citizen. 2, mandate universal background checks. Disgusting. That's because by de facto, it would create a national database. It also means that you couldn't sell a handgun or any gun at all to a family member, friend. More micromanagement, bureaucracy by the government in order to jam up the system, discourage you from exercising your Second Amendment. And again, it would create a national registry where the government knows every transaction. They would know what every gun is. And if you look at any history book, I know schools don't teach it anymore, that's never worked well. It's always, and Ted Cruz, one of the few points he made during I think it was a Senate briefing, he actually said quite eloquently, there's only 2 reasons they want a national registry: is to tax the guns or to take the guns. In that respect, greatly admire that statement. I think is an accurate statement from Ted Cruz. Now, what else would this 20th Amendment do? It also, so those are 2 first moles on this, or tumors more accurately. It also institute a waiting period for all gun purchases. Disgusting. Is there a waiting period when you want to go vote? Oh, I want to go vote today. I'm sorry, you have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. You have to wait 6 months. What? How does that make any sense? It doesn't. I remember anecdotally from my personal experience growing up in a Soviet Union, also known as Illinois, you have to wait about a week. A week? You're in trouble today. What if you have an abusive ex? They're knocking at your door. The police take them away, but of course they release them because the DAs are there. Don't prosecute crime. How do you defend yourself? You can't. They are forcing you to be a victim. A disgusting, un-American, and unmoral thing. It's very few things I can think that are more disgusting than that act by a government. Oh, and the 4th bullet point, it would ban assault weapons, which, again, a term without a definition is useless. Now, this is the perfect example of the brilliance and the importance of political analysis as well as polling analysis. Now, this term was chosen years ago because anti-gunners did a poll. They did a bunch of research. And they asked people What term do they find the scariest? Hunting rifle? Grandpa's got one in the back room. It's been around for hundreds of years, so assault rifles. But that term isn't scary. Wooden stocks is a brown wooden stock in a rifle. That's not scary. Okay, that's not bad. What about a sniper rifle? Well, I mean, it's a bolt action. Bolt action has been around for over 100 years. It's not too scary. Assault weapon. Oh, good. Oh, good gracious. It's a black rifle. We must ban it completely. We need to get rid of these assault rifles. Johnson? I don't know who Johnson is. It's just kind of a cliche thing. It sounds like a government name and a voice. But if you ask 3 different people who hate guns what an assault rifle is, you'll get 3 different answers. Probably 6 because they have split multiple personalities. But no one is defining it. Now, if you force them, tell me what this is, the rare answer you'll get is they'll say a semi-automatic rifle. Which, again, that's basically every gun made. The only thing you're left with are revolvers, which, again, not to piss off the guys who love wheel guns, they are beautiful pieces of craftsmanship, handmade, hand-assembled, handcrafted revolvers are beautiful. The Colt Python is amazing. But you have revolvers, a lever action, cowboy movies, and a bolt action. More than 50% of rifles sold in the United States are the AR-15 pattern rifle, named after the Armalite Company, an aerospace company based out of California, ironically enough, over 50 years ago. Armalite rifle, AR-15. Now, the issue is they had the assault weapons ban in the 90s. 3 different analysis by the government itself showed it had 0 impact on mass shootings or crime. It literally is just prosecuting or making a rifle look bad because of the pigment. It's a black rifle, it must be bad. They don't care about the Ruger Mini 14. Functionally, they are both semi-automatic rifles accepting detachable magazines. So again, they want to ban assault rifles. They don't know what those are. That would leave most Americans completely defenseless. And again, we've had semi-automatic rifles for over 100 years. John Moses Browning, as well as brilliant men in history, a mechanical engineer unrivaled. His design, one of the best ones being the 1911, which some call the Colt 1911 since Colt manufactured many of it, but that was engineered in 1911. Over 100 years later, enthusiasts are still using that pistol. And guess what? Semi-automatic. You pull the trigger once, you get 1 round down the range, or shoots 1 round. It's an overwhelming majority of firearms. And again, these laws will do nothing against the bad guys. A more prudent approach would be try to actually address the issue and not put a band-aid on the problem by only passing laws that will hurt law-abiding citizens. Now, a lot of people are wondering, why is he proposing this now? He's been sitting on his ass ruining the state of California for more years than I could count, or more years than I would like to think. But why now? There are a lot of speculation he is basically virtue signaling or doing this because he knows there's not enough votes to get this passed, but he's doing it to prime his attempt to become U.S. president, which time shall tell. Again, it sounds crazy, and it kind of is, but whether it's technology, a car sale, politics, the incumbent has a big advantage because they're already there. And in terms of political fortitude and cognitive abilities, the 2020 midterms were the best midterms in decades for Democrats. Joe Biden is going to drive that point home. He said he was in charge. That was one of their best years. There's supposed to be a red wave, more like a red drizzle. They did great compared to historically speaking results when it comes to midterms. Traditionally, who's ever the president, usually the midterms, the other party gains a lot of seats in the House and Senate. That didn't happen this year. Republicans got a couple, which is also pathetic. The head of the RNC was not fired as they should have been. Again, it's almost like they're addicted to losing. Time shall tell to see who comes out on top. But Gavin Newsom is, in my opinion, he's doing this now because he wants to prime and run for president. But again, this bill would do nothing. And you know who's a lot smarter than Gavin Newsom? Well, a child or anyone actually with more than three and a half or four brain cells is smarter than him. But the founding fathers are infinitely smarter than him. Something that annoys me so much is when people talk about gun restrictions and gun laws, and they say, well, back in the day, they only had muskets. You know what they also had? They had cannons and battleships. U.S. citizens had military-grade hardware. I know it's a cliche marketing term, but in the sense I'm using it now, they had the exact same materials used by militaries. They were private militaries back in the day. Private companies and private citizens had their own battleships, they had cannons, and at the time, those rifles were state of the art. I know now, in retrospect, it looks very old-fashioned, but at the time, that was the leading edge of technology in firearms. And yet people say it's outdated. Well, I would say human rights are never outdated, and everyone deserves the right to defend themselves and their family. And hopefully, more Americans agree with me, and they start to realize that is their duty and their right and their God-given privilege. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Cannot thank you enough for liking, subscribing, commenting. All the feedback is greatly appreciated. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.